Hey guys, it's always tricky to know what to play when somebody's talking, and maybe your worship leader says, hey, will you lay down a pad? And you're like, lay it down where? What do I play? I can lay down a pad, but then it gets really boring if you stand there and talk for 6 minutes. So I want to show you a few different things that you can do to kind of change up things, but we also have to be really careful about playing the song maybe that you've just sung, because sometimes it can be distracting to the worshiper, because maybe they're singing that song, they're continuing to sing that song in their head while someone is on stage trying to redirect the worship in a different direction, or maybe they're introing communion. So it's important what is laid underneath what they're saying, and so that it's not a distraction, but it actually adds to the worship experience. You may have heard us talk about the holy tones. Those are the magical things that you can, it's also called a drone or a tonic if you're on the main stage concert. But to turn it on, you play the highest C, and it will play whatever key you have highlighted. So I'm going to play something in the key of G, because maybe we've finished just singing Sons and Daughters in the key of G, and we're wanting to transition to a different song, but not necessarily transition to a different key. So we could really, depending on how long the intro is going to be, we could just lay that down and not touch anything on the keyboard. However, if it's going to be a 3 to 4 minute thing, that starts to get really annoying. So I use a patch that's part of the Sunday Keys template called Ambient Echoes, and I've edited a little bit so it's not as layered as it appears. So I've turned down a lot of the volumes, and really, if you'll notice here, it's just gentle pad that's way up, and with just a little bit of the Euphoria pad. So the holy tones are playing already in the key of G. And this is kind of upside down to what we normally play in the worship keys. I'm going to play G and D, which is this 1 and the 5 on the scale of G. And I'm going to hold that the whole time in the right hand. In the left hand, I'm just going to play with one finger at a time. You don't want it to be too full or too low or too much. That's what we're trying to avoid. So kind of set a tempo in your head. If there's a click continuing to happen, you can use that if you want to. And play a couple of bars in this G position, and then leave your right hand here and move to the 4th scale note of the scale. So G is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the 4 chord, which would be C. So my right hand is still holding the G and the D, or the 1 and the 5 if you're in a different key. And then you can fly back to the G or the 1 chord. Do that a couple of times and it kind of changes things up a little bit. Then in your right hand you can add the 2. Or you can leave the 2 the whole time. Really, when you're adding a 2, it's just adding tension to the sound. And then you can go down to the 3 in your left hand if you want to. Your right hand is still holding G and D the whole time. And if you hear they're kind of wrapping up and starting to enter maybe the next song, you can add it and build it a little, or maybe they're having a come to Jesus moment and you need to add a little bit of excitement to the room there. And when you're finished, just land on the same G and D. And usually I just kind of let go of one of them at a time like this, and then let the holy tones kind of take it out, and then turn the trigger off. And we've transitioned.